Okay, I've got 5 questions on fractions. We're going to do this first question here. I've got a box weighing 3 2/3 kilograms, filled with 4 2/5 kilograms of sand, total weight. So it's an adding. So I'm going to add these two to working out in here. So I've got 3 2/3 plus 4 2/5. I want to take the 4 and the 3 and add them together to give me 7. And I've got 2/3 plus 2/5. Can't add fractions together unless the denominator, the bottom number, is the same. So I'm going to change this into 15 because 3 and 5 both go into 15. So over 15, 3 times by 5 makes 15. So I've got to times 2 by 5 to give me 10. And 5 times 3 gives me 15. So I've got to times this by 3, which gives me 6. So I've got 10 over 15 plus 6 over 15, so I've got 16 over 15. That's an improper fraction, so I've got to turn that into a mixed number. 15s goes once into 16 with 1 as a remainder, so that's that. And I've still got my 7 over here to add on to it. I'm going to add those two together, which then gives me an answer of 8 and 1/15. Okay, second question. Container full of rice weighs 6 1/7 kilograms, and the container weighs that, the weight of the rice. So this is a subtraction. So I've got 6 1/7, take away 2 3/5. So I'm going to take away the 6 and the 2 first of all, gives me a 4. And then I've got 1/7, take away 3/5. Got to get that denominator the same again, and that's going to be over 35 over 35, because 7 and 5 both go into 35. 7 to 35 is times by 5, so I've got times that by 5. 5 to 35 is times by 7, so I've got times that by 7. Gives me 21. I've got a problem here because I can't 5, I want to take away 21 from it, can't do that. So I need to come back to my whole number here, and I want to borrow one of those. So that 4, I'm going to take 1 out of that to make it a 3, and that 1's going to come in here as 35 over 35, adding on to this one here to give me 40 out of 35, take away 21 out of 35. So I've taken one whole number out of here and reduced it by 1 to make it 3, and that one whole number I've changed to 35 out of 35, which I can then add on to the 5 out of 35, so it's now making it bigger than the 21 over 35. 40 take away 21 is 19 out of 35, so my answer is 3 and 19 out of 35. Okay, next question, 4/9 of 30 of 30. I want to write it out, 4/9 of times by 30. I could put this over 1 to remind me it's a fraction. I don't need to do that, but I could do that. And I'm going to multiply across the top. 4 times 30 is 120. And multiply across the bottom. 9 times 1 is 9. Now I've got 100. Well, that's okay, but I can simplify that. I can divide that. So I'm going to work that out. 9's into 12 goes once, the remainder of 3. 9's into 30 goes 9, 18, 27, 3 times, remainder of 3. So the answer is 13. My remainder of 3 being divided by 9, and that simplifies to 1 over 3. So my answer is 13 and 1/3. Next question is a multiplication here. So I'm going to turn these into improper fractions. So that 3 2/3 is 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11. So that's 11 over 3 times by, and that is 21 over 5 as improper fractions. Now I could multiply 11 times 21 and multiply 3 times 5 and then simplify the fraction down, but I can also split it into factors right here to save myself some multiplying. So I'm going to split 21 into 7 times 3, because 7 times 3 is 21, and then that 3 and that 3 will cancel. So I've then got 11 times 7 times 1, and 1 times 5. 11 times 7 times 1 is 77. 1 times 5 is 5. And I've got to do 77 divided by 5. 5 into 77. 5's into 7 once, remainder of 2. 5's into 27 goes 5 times 25, remainder of 2. So my answer is 15 and 2, remainder still being divided by the 5. 15 and 2/5. Okay, last one. 4 and 2/3 divided by 8. So I'm going to change 4 and 2/3 into an improper fraction. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 2 is 14. So that's 14 over 3 divided by 8. I'm going to put it like that, 8 over 1, to remind myself it's a fraction. When I divide, I turn the second fraction upside down and multiply. So that becomes 14 over 3 times by an eighth. So I'm going to multiply across the top, 14. Multiply across the bottom, 3 times 8. I've got 14 over 24, and I'm going to simplify that. I can halve and halve. So I think my answer is 7 over 12.